Let's have fun!
Wait. That is the wrong button. Hello, everyone. I'm Shoshy Mushku, also known as Joshua.
I'm Jurt Mushku, also known as Justin.
And we are the creators of the Play Mushku YouTube channel. Most of you probably have not ever heard of us. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. We are responding to DarkHero's Monster Hunter Tag, which is basically a way to kind of connect people with different Monster Hunter YouTubers, and we're jumping on the bandwagon because we have no followers. So, so hopefully people will find us through this. If not, well, it'll be fun reminiscing anyways. So essentially what we'll do is we'll run through 5 different questions, and we'll just kind of talk about our thoughts about the game and how we got into it and all the good stuff. You ready, Justin?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. So the first question is, what got you into the Monster Hunter series, and what do you like about it the most?
All right, first answer is you. You're the one who got me into this. Yeah, I remember. Oh god, it was 6th or 7th grade, I think I was in, and then you texted me about this brand spanking new game you got for Christmas or something. It was either Christmas or your birthday, and it was Monster Hunter Try, and you're like, oh my gosh, you gotta try this, buddy. I came over, and we spent like 5 hours fighting Barrett in the arena, and we lost every frickin' time, but it was still so much fun. And we had the, what was it, was it the Goebel helmet and the greatsword?
The Insect Man helmet?
Yeah, we just went around screaming, I'm Loki, I'm the Insect Man.
That was great.
Yeah, no, that's how I got into it. And as far as what I like about it is, in general, I like the variety of monsters just throughout the series. I like different. I like how different aspects of the game are so varied, yet it all comes together under a unified umbrella. And I mean that in terms of monsters, weapons, and armor.
And just overall aesthetic of the game, even.
Yeah, the aesthetic's really fun. It's very pleasing. Like even during difficult hunts where I would be frustrated and like, Freedom Unite or something like that.
Yeah.
I never felt like I was wasting my time or that I was only doing it for, the sake of doing it. I always did enjoy it on some level.
I think there was only one time that we stopped, or maybe 2 times that we stopped enjoying it. There's one in particular that I want to get to in a later question, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And I like being able to, once you kill a monster, you can use its power for weapons and armor and stuff.
Yeah,
I just think that's fun.
So for me, I don't remember if I saw it on TV or if it was on YouTube. It was most likely on TV because I didn't spend a whole lot of time on YouTube back then. But I saw
was it the commercials with the one
frickin'
Scottish
Ironbeard? Frickin' Ironbeard the Viking, those commercials. I saw that guy and I'm like, what is this? And then I saw the monsters that they were showing off in the game. I'm like, this actually looks really cool. And I specifically remember seeing Agnactor and in one of the trailers, and I was like, this is so cool. But yeah, that was what really, I was one of the few people who didn't get convinced into getting this game, because a lot of people like got bribed into getting this game. I've noticed, like, oh, my friend, my brother, told me to get this game and like was coaxing me about it forever, but like me, I came about it just on my own, really. No one ever told me to go get this game. And it was Ironbeard and those stupid commercials. And then I discovered Social Dissonance and the Monster Hunter podcast, as it was known then, but now I think it's called the Teamwork Cast. I don't even know if they're still together anymore. But I remember I loved listening to that podcast, trying to figure out what I was doing. But yeah,
that's how you absolutely spammed their inbox, and one day they finally responded to you.
They did, and I remember they said, "Oh man," and we've got this person who was just bombarding us with questions, and I was like, "That's me." That was a good day. That was a good day. But yeah, that's how I came into it. I just saw Ironbeard, and I was like, "Yep, that's the game for me." As for what I love about the game, initially it was the monsters. Like, Akhenator was just so cool. Jen Moran was so cool. All of those monsters were just so cool. And I love the diversity, even though Tri probably didn't have as much, like, I guess, across different types of monster diversity.
The ecology was just still really cool to see.
It was amazing, even though, like, it didn't have mammals, it didn't have a lot of the other different body forms, the crabs weren't in it. Like, it still had so much diversity, and I loved that. But as I started getting into it more, I ended up really loving just the nature of the game itself, and how, like, it was an intense, challenging experience, but at the same time it didn't take itself seriously at all.
Oh,
Look at the last one! It's huge!
Oh no!
It's coming for me!
Right.
It's just such a fun game, especially with a lot of, like, not very many games kind of fit that niche right in the middle. Like, there are really hard, challenging games that are really serious and intense, and then there are, you know, easy games that are pretty lighthearted. This is a challenging game that's also lighthearted, and I love that. And I also love that it's a cooperative game, not a competitive game.
Yeah. But it's also possible to, you know, be a solo player as well. They don't shoehorn cooperative nature into it.
Yes, and you don't necessarily have to do something specific. It's not like a lot of MMOs where, like, you pick a class, you stick to that class, you are expected to do this for the team. Like Monster Hunter, it's like, whatever your build is for, go use it to your heart's content. You know, there's so much freedom in what you can do in the game and how you want to play the game, which is so cool to me. I love that.
I remember, like, because we've been playing these games for years, and I remember seeing upon the release and first few months of this game, just the expanded audience trying to make that stuff apply, making tier lists for the weapons.
Oh yeah, that was so funny, and, like, none of them worked.
Right.
No one's tier list was the
furious.
same.
I've been a Sword and Shield main since Tri.
Same.
I got furious when they're like, "Oh, Sword and Shield's only a support build." Nothing else. No, it's not solo viable. It's only a support build.
Yep.
Like,
yep. I love it.
I am both a solo player and a Sword and Shield main. Even saying main is weird. It's just what I prefer. It's not really what I'm.
Because you use multiple different classes of weapons, especially in World.
Yeah, I frequent Charge Blade and Switch Axe. And
yeah,
bow,
I use Insect Glaive. I use a
well.
lot of stuff, actually. Also, gotta say, my favorite part about these games, Guild Bard Lobos. Even though they changed the name in World, it's the Guild Bard Lobos. I love this hat with a deep passion. Every single Monster Hunter game that I've owned, I have the Guild Bard Lobos, except for Freedom Unite before it was invented, in which case I had the Guild Knight hat, because it's close enough. Oh my goodness. Alright, so that's question one.
Next
question two. What are some of your favorite moments or memories playing Monster Hunter? We could spend a long time on this one. I think the one I might as well mention the one that we were thinking about earlier that was memorable.
That's
for
our
the
least. I mean, it's one of our favorite moments, and that it is one of our least favorites.
That was back in Monster Hunter Tri, and we had just gotten into high rank, and I don't remember even what I was trying to upgrade. I was trying to upgrade some weapon, and I
both
needed
one.
a Wyvern Stone. And back in
Yeah.
those days, unlike Monster Hunter World, you couldn't just trade in some ticket to get it. Like, you had to grind it, and it had such a low drop rate. We must have spent over a month farming Quirapecos, desperately trying to get desperately trying to get those wyvern stones. It was such a
by the end we only got one each, maybe.
I think you got 2, and I got mad at you because
I think yeah.
Oh
meanwhile,
man.
meanwhile in this game, I carved 2 Teostra gems in one quest.
Also, the Bareth. Bareth has always been one of my favorite monsters because of our experience when we first started the game. He was so hard and so challenging, and this was unlike any other game we had played up until this point, right? So, like, this was just... Yeah. He was so hard. We had so much trouble. We spent a long time trying to beat him in the arena. And I mean, given that was before we had really played through a lot of the game to get to Bareth, we fought Bareth in the arena before we fought him in the actual story of the games. I also remember once we had just started playing Monster Hunter Tri again after a few months of not playing for a while. And you couldn't remember the controls, and we had we were like trying to sleep bomb a Lagiacrus, and you just accidentally just bashed the thing in the foot.
Yeah, no, I think I just kicked it and woke it up.
You just kicked it instead of hitting the bombs like we were supposed to.
I'm gonna go a step further with this question. I haven't looked at the list, so I don't know if this is another question. Stop me if it is.
Okay.
What was your most triumphant moment in Monster Hunter? When did you feel like, I did it?
That's a really hard one, because there's probably a lot of those moments that I'm not remembering because we've been playing these games for so long. But the most recent time that I felt that triumphant moment was that one time in this game that we did the Devil May Cry crossover event with bows only, with really under-leveled gear.
Yep.
We were not prepared for that quest at all, and we tried it anyways, and we pulled out a clutch finish with like a minute to spare.
That was great.
Teostra was the one that screwed us over because we are not great at bows. So like we were getting like zeros on our arrows. We couldn't figure out why, and it was but we did it through some form of magic or witchcraft. We managed to beat it, and that's probably the most recent time I felt triumphant. Though probably the first time we fought Gen Moran. I was
thinking about Gen Moran.
I feel like I felt really triumphant then. And when I beat Shen Gaoran in Freedom Unite, because I remember I struggled a lot
with him.
With Shen Gaoran. And I think that was pretty triumphant as well.
One that comes to my mind, just for me, was when I soloed Ashen Laoshan for the first time. Because that took me a long time to solo him. But
yeah, you
I did,
blew through
and I
Freedom
felt
Unite.
Really accomplished after.
Yeah, no kidding.
Freedom Unite was really fun. I loved Freedom Unite.
Which is funny because you hate the portable Monster Hunter games, yet you just went hardcore into Freedom Unite.
Yeah, no, I really struggle to get into portable games. I'm much more of like a
console gamer. Yeah. And I totally understand that, but I just think the irony of that, you just went so hardcore into Freedom Unite.
I poured hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into
Also,
Freedom
can
Unite.
I just say that World would be the perfect game to make a return for treasure hunting quests from Freedom Unite?
With like the egg carrier stuff or whatever?
No, the treasure hunting quest with, what was it, Treshy? The person in the gathering hub, and you would like go out and you would just collect a bunch of random items for treasure or whatever, and you would compete with your friends to see who could...
That.
You don't remember the treasure hunting quest?
I don't remember the treasure hunting quest.
We had so much fun. You would go... That's where the Kelby nuts thing came from.
Kick the Kelby nuts.
That's where that came from, is because that was one of the materials you would pick up. You would just wander around for like half an hour collecting as many materials as you could within the time limit to get as much treasure as possible. One
more fond memory is just wyvern blasting Antekka with our gun lances for no reason.
I forgot about that. We would just go out. We wouldn't even do a real quest. We would just go out on a harvest tour and just wyvern shot Antekka off mountains. I forgot about that. That was, oh man, we had so much fun in the older Monster Hunter games, and we still do to this day. But man, it's it's been so long since we've played like Try and Freedom Unite. It's just like we did so much ridiculous shenanigans in those games. Next question. What is your favorite Monster Hunter monster and why?
Ooh, so for me it's always been sort of a teetering balance between two.
Yep, I know exactly which two you're talking about.
Yeah, it's been between Lagiacrus and Nargacuga. I just love both of them so much. I love Lagiacrus because, honestly, the Leviathan class of monster is still to my data's favorite class of monster to fight. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. It just is. I was one of the few people who actually liked underwater and Try. I excelled at underwater, and I thought that was fun.
Again, not salty at all.
No. But I love his design. He's such a classic Leviathan design. Just this underwater, like, behemoth serpentine reptile thing, and the lightning is really cool too.
I love it.
He's just such a cool design.
He also has really nice armor and weapons too.
I loved his armor and weapons, yeah. And Nargacuga I love because he's like a really spooky stealth monster. I love his design too, like the sort of bat panther parrot thing that he is. I love it.
Yes.
And I love what he does with his eyes when he gets enraged, how they kind of like travel the light. And his overall aesthetic is just really awesome. And I'm absolutely praying that the teaser bit at the end of the Iceborne trailer was an Nargacuga, because I will actually crap myself in joy.
It has to be, because the only other monster that has those eyes is Bariath, and the sound effects are Nargacuga. Like,
yeah,
it's Nargacuga. I'm so excited.
Excited. Anyway, what's your favorite monster and why?
My favorite monster is yet another Freedom Unite monster is Chameleos. And I love Chameleos. Yeah. He's so weird and quirky and funny, and like the way he walks like a chameleon. He does the little like twitch step, twitch step. Like I love the way he moves, his aesthetic. I love that at least in Freedom Unite, he doesn't have music until like he gets mad at you. Otherwise he's really passive. He turns invisible, he hides from you. And also like that's a great, it was the perfect
invisibility thing was a cool kind of quirky power.
It was, and it wasn't like overpowered, you know? It was the perfect monster to give invisibility to. A very passive monster, and I love that. Yeah, and I love his body proportions. I don't know why. I just really like the proportion of like the short legs with the big wings, the big head, and the little nose horn, and the crazy eyes. He's so funny. I love everything about him. He's so cute in such an ugly way, and I love it so much.
I love how commanding a presence Lagiacrus has too. He's got a really intense steal the show kind of presence, like
the complete opposite of Chameleos' presence.
Oh yeah, and because like in the opening cutscene to Try, like, you know, it's like a Rathalos fighting a Jagi, and it's like Rathalos, the series flag, and then Lagiacrus leaps out of the scene, like rears up, and he's like, "Oh, big boy, daddy's entered the server."
Yes, he's really cool. Actually, you didn't experience this because this was in 4 Ultimate. Chameleos is in 4 Ultimate, and he got buffed a lot. He's much more aggressive in 4 Ultimate than he was in Freedom Unite. And the cutscene, if you watch the cutscene, he has a very different behavior. He's really aggressive and kind of terrifying. Oh man, he gets really intense. And I love the armor. Like, it makes you look like some weird, quirky wizard dude.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And his armor in G rank is really good for status builds, which, as you may know, I love status builds. I love my status weapons. Oh man. But yeah, and then
next question.
Two other monsters. I'm not going to go into depth, but just honorable mentions. Egnactor. I love Egnactor. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And then one that isn't. I've never fought before, but I've seen trailers for it, and he aesthetically he's so cool. Rucodiora is from one of the ones that isn't available in America. Monster Hunters. That's one of the online MMO style Monster Hunter games, but he's so cool. He's like a gray and yellow dragon with magnetic powers, and he lives in like you fight him in like this arena of like a ruined civilization, so he's flinging like all these ancient metal bits of the civilization at you, and it's awesome. He's really cool.
It's Magneto, but the dragon version.
Yeah, and Barioth. Barioth is pretty cool too. I love.
Yeah, I know you love Barioth.
I love his G rank armor. Anyways, next question. What is your favorite weapon to use?
Sword and Shield. I just love its versatility. I tend to go for evasion style builds, and Sword and Shield really gives me the ability to dodge, then continue just slashing. And I understand that dual swords gives you the same ability, and I do like dual swords, but I like the added ability of a last minute guard just with the shield, and and being able to use your items without sheathing your weapon is nice as well. I also just love the aesthetic of Sword and Shield, because it's like fighting a dragon with a sword and shield. Like, come on. And the buffs to it in World are just my favorite thing in the universe, and I'm extremely grateful for them. And I love Sword and Shield's new aerial moves, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Honorable mentions, Switch Axe. I loved Switch Axe. I used that a lot in previous games, and Charge Blade, which I've recently taken up. Charge Blade is like the mix of my two previous favorite weapons.
Switch Axe and Sword and Shield. Yep. Mine, it's a tie because it depends on the monster and it depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Like, man, Sword and Shield. I've been a Sword and Shield main since when we first started. I did Sword and Shield in Freedom Unite. I did Sword and Shield in 4 Ultimate. I did Sword and Shield in Generations. And for all the same reasons. It's so versatile. And I love I did a build in this game that basically just took all the things it did kind of subpar to the other weapons, and just bumped them up to the max. So like, it has Slugger. So like the Shield Bash, it does KO damage, but if you just spam it with Slugger, you can knock out monsters pretty easily with it. And especially with the jumping down smash with the shield, that does KO damage as well. I got speed eating, so drinking potions and stuff on the go with your weapon out, it takes no time at all. Got aerial attacks, all the good stuff. Evasion, I have evade window up. I have guard up and guard skills so that I can block things that I normally can't attack. I have things that make it so that I can block better. So basically I have a lance shield on a Sword and Shield. It's great. I love the versatility of Sword and Shield. You can do so much with it, and the status buildup is so good, especially because I love status. I love status so much. Sword and Shield is so good for it. I did have a brief stint with dual blades, but I've kind of fallen out with dual blades recently. I like Sword and Shield much better, again, because of the versatility. And then the other weapon I really love is Insect Glaive. As soon as I picked up 4 Ultimate, I started with Insect Glaive. And even though it's a nightmare to upgrade in 4 Ultimate, I still love it in 4 Ultimate. Generations, aerial style Insect Glaive is just the best when you're running a status glaive set, because you just fling through the air and you're just spinning the entire time. You're just barrel rolling over monsters the entire hunt, and it's amazing. And especially in this game, because they added the statuses to the kinsects as well. Like, Dual Blades is probably the only one comparable to the status build-up. It's a fun weapon to use. It's stylish, it's flashy, it's exciting.
And I'd like to go a step further and say that my favorite weapon, singular in the series, is the Rathalos Sword and Shield design from Tri.
The Jin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is by far my favorite weapon design in the entire franchise that I've seen so far. And it's great. It's a searing hot sword with a really cool blade shape, and the
wider tip
on it.
I really liked the Hypnos knife from Tri, the Great Boggy Sword and Shield.
Oh yeah. I
love the color scheme of it. The black, the kind of darker blue fading to black and gray. Like, I just love that color scheme. But I really love the bone sword and shield in World, just because, gosh, you can just build up paralysis with that thing. Same with the bone glaive as well. That's one of my favorites in this one. I think it's called the highest of glaives in the older games. I don't remember what it's called in this one, but the paralysis buildup on those is amazing. You need free element, but I mean, you can't compare to the paralysis buildup on those. It's good. It's really good.
All right, next one.
Last one. This is the last one. I want you to answer this one because I have a much worse memory than you. This one is, why is that your channel name?
Oh, God.
So I'm gonna let you take this one because my memory of that night is foggy. There was no alcohol involved as just a clarifier. This was just a really late night on a sleepover. It was
12 or 13 or whatever. Yeah, it was like 4 a.m. or something. We used to have a tradition, he and I, one of the extended weekends from school, we would just spend the entire weekend together and just have a straight Godzilla marathon. And we did that every year. We called it Gojira Days, and
we even made
it was
t-shirts every year.
Yeah, that was fun.
Homemade t-shirts every year.
And one of these Gojira Days, it was like 3 or 4 a.m. and we weren't in the mindset to keep watching movies, so we just ended up playing the special features on one of the discs. I think it was Godzilla vs. Mothra from the Heisei era, and we were watching the trailer, and it ended with a really, really rushed toy advertisement for just like these little tiny chibi figurines of the Godzilla monsters, and
it sounded like gibberish.
The announcer
really
was speaking as fast, if not faster, as an auctioneer does, and but like and he was just speaking. He was going really fast. It's like I would be very surprised if if it wasn't like sped up. But anyway, he was just going really fast. Nothing was distinguishable. It was just straight, just words, and then the last word was just really emphatic.
And there was like a brief pause too, like it was like gibberish, pause, and then
and good lord, we're Midwestern American boys, and we were like 13. We don't speak Japanese, and
we didn't know what he was saying.
Yeah, and
we probably butchered the pronunciation of this word so hard.
No, this isn't even a word, I bet. But like, we heard Mushku, and it was just like Mushku, and we just broke up into a laughing fit that lasted at least 25 to 30 minutes.
It was longer than that.
It's stuck. Like, even though it's complete gibberish, and that's why we take it, it's not a word. It's just a goofy gibberish thing that we took, that we made up ourselves, essentially. And
Inspired by a word in
it.
Japanese.
Yeah, and we just ran with it, and it's been part of our screen names consistently ever since.
Yep. So that's the origin of it. If you were wondering what it means, doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't
to
mean
disappoint you.
it means laughing really hard at 4 a.m. That's what it means. Well, yeah, I think we've spent enough time on this.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. It's been fun reminiscing though, and
Indeed.
if any of you viewers enjoy this, please check out our content. We don't post terribly often, unfortunately, because, you know...
But we plan to post more.
We plan to post more.
But we are in college, to be fair.
Yes, so we do have a lot of times where we don't post for a while, so subscribe so you get a notification when we do post. Hopefully you find it funny. We find it funny. We think we're funny.
And that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yep. Oh boy. So yeah, please like, subscribe.
You had a good time.
Please like, subscribe, check out our videos. We have some cool new stuff coming up this New Year's, and I guess happy hunting from
Happy hunting.
Play Mushku. We're really bad at this whole signing off thing. We don't do this ever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, we're terrible. It's great though.
Let's just say bye. Let's leave with that. Happy hunting and goodbye.
We'll say bye on 3, okay?
Okay.
So like 1, 2, bye.
Okay.
1, 2,
bye! Oh my gosh!